All right, today we're going to finish The Girl Who Loved Wild Horses by Paul Gogol. The people searched everywhere for the girl and the vanished horses. They were nowhere to be found. But a year later, two hunters rode into the hills where the wild horses lived. When they climbed a hill and looked over the top, they saw the wild horses led by the beautiful spotted stallion. Beside him rode the girl leading a colt. They called out to her. She waved back, but the stallion quickly drove her away with all of his horses. Why do you think the stallion drove the horses and the girl away? Was he trying to keep them safe? The hunters galloped home and told of what they had seen. The men mounted their fastest horses and set out at once. It was a long chase. The stallion defended the girl and the colt. He circled around and around them so that the riders could not get near. They tried to catch him with ropes, but he dodged them. He had no fear. His eyes shone like cold stars. He snorted and his hooves struck as fast as lightning. The riders admired his courage. They might never have caught the girl except that the horse stumbled and she fell. All right, so these are different pictures of the stallion in different positions trying to keep the people away from the girl and the colt. Do you think that the girl wanted to go back to her people? I don't know. She was happy to see her parents, and they thought she would be happy to be home again. But they soon saw that she was sad and missed the colt and the wild horses. So now we know that she was happy at first, but then she grew sad. Each evening, as the sun went down, the people would hear the stallion neighing sadly from the hilltop above the village, calling for her to come back. The days passed, and her parents knew the girl was lonely. She became ill, and the doctors could do nothing to help her. They asked what would make her well again. I love to run with the wild horses, she answered. They are my relatives. If you let me go back to them, I shall be happy forevermore. Her parents loved her and agreed that she should go back to live with the wild horses. They gave her a beautiful dress and the best horse in the village to ride. The spotted stallion led his wild horses down from the hills. The people gave them fine things to wear, colorful blankets and decorated saddles. They painted designs on their bodies and tied eagle feathers and ribbons in their manes and tails. In return, the girl gave the colt to her parents. Everyone was joyful. So it looks like the people and the wild horses are friends, doesn't it? Now, do you think it's a good idea for her to return? Once again, the girl rode beside the spotted stallion. They were proud and happy together, but she did not forget her people. Each year she would come back, and she always brought her parents a colt. And one year she did not return and was never seen again. But when hunters saw the wild horses, there galloped beside them a mighty stallion, a beautiful mare with a mane and tail floating like the wispy clouds around her. They said that the girl had surely become one of the wild horses at last. Today we are still glad to remember that we have relatives among the horse people, and it gives us joy to see the wild horses running free. Our thoughts fly with them. All right, so the author calls them the horse people. So how many of you think that this is a good name for that? All right, now here's our chance to infer again. The big question, whether the girl really turned into a horse. Let's see if we can infer the answer. We know she was living with the horses and that she came back every year and then she stopped coming. We know that a new horse, a mare, which is a female horse, was seen with the stallion. We also know that the girl was never seen again. Another thing we know is that the horses could talk, so it's not a real story. So those are the facts we know. So if you think the girl, do you think she was able to turn into a horse at last? Something interesting to think about at least, right? All right, and then this is the last page, and it says a Navajo song about his horse. My horse has a hoof like a striped agate. His fetlock is like the fire eagle plume. His legs are quick lightning. My horse's body is like an eagle plumed arrow. My horse has a tail like a trailing black cloud. His mane is made of short rainbows. My horse's ears are made of round corn. My horse's eyes are made of big stars. My horse's teeth are made of white shell. The long rainbow is his is in his mouth for a bridle, and it is with that I will guide him. All right. So I hope you enjoyed The Girl Who Loved Wild Horses. Thanks for listening.